Strange signals rise in life, appearing for a breath, then slipping into silence again. One signal stands out, 3:33, a moment many glance at without thought, yet it carries a rare pull, a quiet force that stirs something deeper. In Shaolin teaching, such repeating moments are seen as brief gateways, openings where mind, body, and spirit align in a single pulse. Miss that pulse, and the inner call fades. I step forward today to guide you through the hidden layers behind this number. Not superstition, not empty symbolism, but a reminder rooted in ancient training that awareness blooms in brief sparks, not long hours. 3:33 marks one such spark, a message tapping gently, urging presence, urging clarity, urging awakening. In this journey, you will explore lesser-known fragments from Shaolin history, small events monks rarely speak about, moments where sudden alignment reshaped entire paths. You will learn how these rare signals appear during transitions, inner shifts, and silent battles within the self. You will uncover principles that strengthen discipline, sharpen sensing, and clear the restless mind. Stay with me, because each segment unlocks a new layer. By the final words, you will see 3:33 not as a number but as a turning point, a mirror, a signal asking for stillness and courage at the same time. This message will not circle back again. Missing it means missing a chance to rise above old patterns and step into sharper awareness. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. Join our circle, align with our path, and subscribe for more teachings that strengthen spirit and sharpen presence. A quiet truth lives in every monastery. Not all ears hear the same sound. A bell can ring through an entire temple, yet only a few monks rise with full awareness. The rest wake into routine, not understanding why the sound was struck. This difference, subtle but immense, is what separates the 1% from the many. In Shaolin circles, we often say that life speaks softly before it speaks loudly. It leaves clues, small shifts, slight discomforts, unexpected moments of stillness. These signals redirect the path long before a major change arrives, but the mind trained in distraction walks past them. It wants noise, drama, obvious signs. It overlooks the quiet nudge that could have prevented a storm. During my early years of training, an elder monk shared a lesson I never forgot. He said, "Awareness is not given to you, it is refined by you." I watched him move through the temple, noticing things the rest of us never saw, a fallen leaf that revealed a coming weather change, a tiny crack in a stone that hinted at years of stress, a shift in someone's breathing that warned of hidden struggle. He saw what most ignored. He lived in the realm of the 1%. Those who live consciously move through the world with open senses. They don't sleepwalk through their days. They catch the slight hesitation in their thoughts, the inner pull in their chest, the message that arrives without fanfare. They recognize the moment when something calls for attention, even when it arrives in the form of a simple number, a brief silence, a sudden clarity at 3:33. The message I speak of reaches only those who are ready to listen, not because others are undeserving, but because awareness is a discipline, a practice state, a sharpened perception, and only the rare few maintain it long enough to notice the guidance meant for them. A strange thing happens in the mind when a message begins, a subtle restlessness, a pull toward the next thing, an urge to move away before the meaning can land. In Shaolin training, this moment is not ignored, it is studied, because the urge to skip is not a sign of boredom, it is a sign of an undisciplined mind trying to escape stillness. In the monastery, beginners often struggled with this. A master would give them a simple instruction, sometimes only a few sentences, yet their eyes would wander, their breath would grow uneven, and their focus would break before the lesson reached its depth. The master never raised his voice. He only said, "You are fighting the first enemy, impatience." Impatience is subtle. It disguises itself as efficiency, as quick thinking, as wanting to move forward. But beneath the surface, it is a refusal to be fully present, and presence is the doorway to mastery. There was a young monk who admitted that he skipped the master's words in his mind, racing ahead to what he thought mattered more. One day, the master stopped him and said, "If you cannot stay with one moment, Why do you expect life to reveal its hidden ones to you? That sentence stayed with the monk for years. It stays with many who hear it. The impulse to skip this message is not a flaw. It is a reflection, a mirror showing how quickly the mind tries to avoid depth. In ancient teachings, skipping the present is considered skipping your own growth. Every time impatience wins, discipline weakens. Every time you choose to stay, even for a breath longer than usual, your inner strength sharpens. The real test begins the moment you feel that urge to leave. That is where the mind is challenged, shaped, and strengthened. Not by grand battles, but by choosing not to run from a single meaningful moment. There are moments in life that arrive without warning, brief, sharp, and unmistakable. No ceremony, no build-up, no explanation. Shaolin monks often say that true wisdom does not unfold slowly, like a long scroll. It bursts through the mind in a single flash, like a lantern lit in complete darkness. One breath, 1 second, one realization, and everything shifts. In the temple, these moments were called silent strikes. They came unexpectedly during meditation, during training, even while completing simple chores. A monk could spend months wrestling with a question, and then in an instant, the answer would appear with perfect clarity. Not because he thought harder, but because his mind finally became still enough for the truth to reveal itself. This is the nature of sudden clarity. It doesn't announce itself, it simply arrives. When people speak of seeing 333, they often focus on the number, but the real significance lies in the timing, the instant when something inside you pauses, listens, and feels a shift. That brief alignment of mind, body, and spirit is the modern reflection of what ancient monks recognized, a moment when perception sharpens and inner truth rises to the surface. But there's a catch. These moments do not wait. A monk once shared that wisdom is like a bird landing on your shoulder. If you turn away, even for a heartbeat, it disappears. Try calling it back, and it will not return. The window has closed. So when clarity comes, whether as a number on a clock, a sudden insight, or a soft whisper of intuition, the training teaches you to honor it. Pause. Breathe. Let the insight settle before the noise of life pulls you away again. Those who learn to catch these flashes grow quickly. Those who miss them often don't even realize what slipped past. In the quiet halls of the monastery, the first lesson is rarely about movement or strength. It is about stillness. Shaolin masters call this practice Xinjing, the training of the heart-mind. For most, the mind races like water over rocks, tumbling endlessly, never pausing. But the path of mastery begins when the water settles, and the mind becomes a calm, reflective pool. A young monk once struggled to notice the subtle signs around him. He trained vigorously, practiced strikes and stances, yet insight seemed distant. One morning the elder led him to a silent courtyard and said, "To see clearly, you must first stop running." For hours they sat without speaking, listening only to the wind, the rustle of leaves, and the quiet of their own breath. Slowly the young monk began to notice patterns he had never seen, the slight shift in the air before rain, the rhythm of footsteps that foretold movement, the inner stirrings of thought that revealed his own hidden fears. This was Xinjing in practice. Stillness is not emptiness. It is a state of deep awareness, where the mind becomes a mirror reflecting truth without distortion. The 1% who hear life's messages are those who cultivate this calm. They notice the signals others miss, subtle nudges, fleeting insights, moments that could alter the course of their lives. Without stillness, these moments slip by like wind through fingers, unnoticed and unclaimed. Every disciplined breath, every quiet moment of observation strengthens the heart-mind. Through this practice, the ordinary becomes visible. Patterns emerge. Guidance becomes clear. The mind no longer chases the surface of life, but perceives its underlying currents. And in that calm, the rare flashes of wisdom, the messages meant only for those who are awake, finally find their way home. Every movement begins with a choice. In the Shaolin tradition, mastery is not first measured by skill or strength, but by the ability to remain fully present, to sit, to stand, to breathe, and to commit every fiber of attention to this single moment. The warrior mind is born not from force, but from presence. A young disciple once asked an elder, "How do I become strong if I am still?" The elder did not answer with words. Instead, he guided the student to the training hall and instructed him to hold a stance for hours. At first, the young monk's mind wandered. Thoughts of tomorrow, regrets of yesterday, desires of the world beyond the walls, all tugged at him. Pain and impatience whispered to move, to escape. The elder's gaze remained steady. "Stay," he said simply. And so the monk stayed again and again until he began to notice something subtle. Each sensation, each breath, each moment of resistance carried a lesson. Strength revealed itself only when the mind refused to drift. Presence is more than awareness. It is a decision repeated in every instant. To skip a moment, to allow distraction to lead, is to surrender the very foundation of mastery. The body may move, but the mind lags behind. The heart may act, but it is clouded by noise. Only when attention rests fully in the now does true discipline arise. The Shaolin path teaches that every task, every challenge, every simple breath is an opportunity to practice presence. It is a choice, again and again, to anchor the mind and honor the moment as sacred. The discipline of choosing presence sharpens the spirit, steadies the heart, and reveals the clarity and strength that lie hidden in the ordinary. In this way, the warrior is forged, silently, patiently, with unwavering focus on the here and now. In the quiet rhythm of the monastery, subtle patterns speak louder than words. Shaolin monks have long observed the world with disciplined attention, learning that repetition often carries meaning. Numbers, sequences, small echoes of time, they are not mere coincidences. They are signals, nudges from life itself, guiding those willing to notice. When a moment repeats, "Pay attention," the elders would say, and it was not superstition, but a practice of awareness. A young monk once spent years in training, observing the mundane flow of days. One morning he noticed the clock striking 3:33. At first he dismissed it, but the repetition lingered, a quiet insistence he could not ignore. The elder noticed his distraction and explained, "The world offers lessons in patterns. When a moment repeats, it is pointing inward. It is not asking you to chase the number outside yourself, but to explore the currents within." The meaning of repeating numbers lies not in prediction, but in reflection. Each sequence becomes a mirror, a gentle call to stillness, to pause, and to examine the mind. Shaolin teaching emphasizes this inward focus because the mind, untrained, often overlooks the whispers of guidance hidden in everyday life. By noticing these repeated moments, the practitioner strengthens discernment, sharpens awareness, and aligns body and spirit in harmony. 3:33 is more than a mark on a clock. It is an invitation, a subtle awakening, a reminder that life moves in cycles, and insight often arrives in rhythm with these cycles. To see it, to honor it, is to practice discipline. To ignore it is to drift, missing the chance to connect with the deeper patterns guiding the path. In this way, even a simple number becomes a tool for mastery, a signal that calls the attentive to look inward, where true understanding quietly waits. Life often moves faster than the mind can follow. In the Shaolin halls, monks observe how easily attention drifts. The small signals, the subtle shifts, the quiet nudges of life, these are frequently overlooked. Most people move as if caught in a current, chasing what seems urgent, missing what is essential. Shaolin wisdom warns that the path of mastery is hidden in these unnoticed moments. A disciple once hurried through his daily practices, eager to complete each task and move on. He rushed through stances, skipped reflections, and ignored the lessons hidden in routine. One evening the elder called him to the courtyard and said, "You run past life as if it is a shadow. The shadow contains the light you seek. Only slow down enough, and it will reveal itself." At first the young monk did not understand, but as he learned to pause, to breathe fully, to observe each gesture, each sound, each breath, he began to perceive patterns that had been invisible. Small warnings, subtle guidance, and fleeting opportunities became clear. The truth is, the world speaks constantly, yet most cannot hear it. They scroll past insights, dismiss signs, and move mechanically through their days. mastery demands a different rhythm, a slowing, a mindful attunement, a willingness to meet each moment with full presence. Discipline is not only about action, it is about attention, patience, and the courage to be fully awake in the ordinary. When the mind becomes quiet and receptive, the signals no longer escape. What once went unnoticed now becomes a map, guiding each step toward alignment of mind, body, and spirit. Shaolin teachings remind us the overlooked moments are often the very lessons that shape the course of a life. To miss them is to drift. To notice them is to begin the journey of true mastery. Within every mind, there lies a quiet shadow, not visible, yet persistent. It whispers constantly, steering thoughts toward ease, distraction, and comfort. In Shaolin practice, this shadow is recognized as the first adversary, subtle yet powerful. It urges, skip this, don't think, don't listen, and often the mind obeys, fleeing from stillness, from challenge, from the work that shapes mastery. A young monk once struggled with meditation. Each time he settled into silence, a restlessness arose. Thoughts of tasks undone, fleeting desires, even boredom tugged at him. He almost left the hall one day, convinced the lesson was trivial. The elder noticed and said, "The shadow grows stronger when you run. Its voice is loud but hollow. True strength begins when you do not respond." That simple guidance became a turning point, revealing that the most persistent battles are often internal, hidden from view. The untrained mind avoids the discomfort of reflection, the silence of observation, and the discipline required to stay present. Shaolin teachings emphasize that these moments are precisely where transformation occurs. By acknowledging the shadow without surrendering to it, a practitioner builds resilience, sharpens perception, and strengthens inner resolve. Each time the urge to skip is resisted, a new layer of mastery forms. The shadow is patient. It waits for the mind to falter, for attention to wander, for discipline to weaken. But the disciplined heart learns to meet it with calm observation, not resistance born of frustration. Over time, the once powerful whisper loses its sway, and clarity emerges. What was once avoidance becomes awareness. What was once restlessness becomes presence. Shaolin practice teaches that the path to mastery is not in fleeing the shadow, but in staying, observing, and transforming it from within. There comes a moment when life seems to pause, when the noise softens and a subtle invitation arrives. In Shaolin understanding, 333 is one such moment, a threshold where inner chaos meets the possibility of clarity. It is not magical, nor is it accidental. It is a signal, a call to reorganize the inner world and align with what truly matters. A monk once recounted a night spent in quiet reflection, wrestling with scattered thoughts and restless energy. The clock struck 3:33, and for a fleeting instant, everything slowed. The swirling distractions of the mind, fear, doubt, hesitation, seemed to crystallize. In that silence, a choice emerged: to continue drifting with the current of old habits or to step fully into awareness. That pause, that subtle alignment, marked a shift from confusion to clarity. The Shaolin path teaches that these moments are invitations to move deliberately. Noise becomes awareness. Fear transforms into discipline. Delay gives way to action. The transition is subtle but profound. It is the heartbeat of mastery, noticing when the mind is scattered and gently guiding it toward presence, focus, and intention. The 333 shift is a reminder that life does not demand perfection, only attentiveness. Each repeated moment of awareness reinforces inner order. Each choice to stay present strengthens the alignment of mind, body, and spirit. The signal is fleeting. If ignored, the window closes and the mind drifts back into familiar chaos. But when the call is heeded, transformation begins. The mind becomes steadier, the heart calmer, the spirit more receptive. The Shaolin teachings show that clarity is not a distant goal but a living practice, revealed in brief, precise moments. 333 is one such moment, a pause, a choice, a step from uncertainty into disciplined presence. The path to mastery is not wide. It does not welcome the hurried, the distracted, or the easily swayed. Shaolin monks speak of a narrow path, Away walk by the 1%, those who answer the call of fleeting moments with full attention. These are the rare few who see the signals life sends and allow them to guide action, who pause long enough to notice the currents beneath the surface of everyday life. A young disciple once followed the footsteps of an elder through the temple gardens. Every stone, every ripple in the pond, every bird's call was observed with intention. The elder said, "One step taken with clarity is stronger than 100 taken blindly. Each deliberate movement is a choice. Each conscious breath is a foundation." The disciple began to understand that mastery was not about speed, accumulation, or recognition. It was about precision, awareness, and the courage to honor the present moment. Most people move through life in patterns, repeating habits, chasing distractions, and rarely questioning the course they follow. The 1% walk differently. They respond to guidance, even subtle, even brief. They cultivate patience, presence, and discernment. They know that each moment carries potential, a chance to correct the course, to refine understanding, to build strength not visible to the world but deeply felt within. The Shaolin way teaches that transformation is slow, measured, and deliberate. It is forged in repetition, reflection, and conscious choice. Every alert pause, every mindful step, every moment of inner focus compounds into growth. The narrow path is demanding, but it is the way of those who awaken fully to life, and for those willing to walk it, even the briefest moment, a whisper, a number, a sudden insight can become the turning point that reshapes everything. Moments like 3:33 do not come often. They arrive quietly, asking for attention, asking for stillness, asking for presence. Only the 1% truly notice because they have trained their minds to pause, to feel, to act with awareness. Shaolin wisdom reminds us that growth is not found in haste or distraction, but in presence, discipline, and mindful action. When you honor these moments, even briefly, they become turning points. They guide the mind, strengthen the spirit, and open a path toward clarity that can shape the rest of your life. Ignoring them means letting the opportunity pass, sometimes forever. Carry this awareness into your day. Pause before reacting, notice the subtle signals, and allow discipline and stillness to guide your choices. Even the smallest act of mindful attention can ripple outward, transforming ordinary moments into lessons of mastery. If this message has reached you, let it inspire patience, reflection, and inner strength. For more teachings that sharpen awareness and deepen presence, join our journey. Like this video, subscribe to Shaolin Soulfire, and step onto the path of mindful mastery with us.